And for those who aren't familiar, can you please explain AgriStress and then just the whole company AgriSafe as a whole, how it helps agricultural workers just around the country and specifically here in Oregon?
Yeah, sure, I can. Let's see. The AgriSafe Network is a nonprofit organization based in Louisiana that works nationwide around promoting the health and safety for the agricultural workforce, broadly defined. They are a partner of ours in the work. They are the provider, together with Via Link, of the AgriStress Helpline for Oregon, which is a 24/7 telephone-based crisis line. So our friends at AgriSafe actually, right, they're the ones that are answering the calls. They're very well trained. We at OSU, at Oregon State University, with the Extension Service and the College of Health, we administer the line in Oregon. So we're the local contact. And that means that we make sure people know that it exists, the right people, the folks who are the target for the line. And we've been doing that since September of 2023 is when we launched.
Okay, so that kind of knocks out the second question then of what the relationship is between OSU and the helpline. So I'll move down to how is AgriStress, excuse me, how is AgriStress Helpline funded? And then is it solely funded by government or does OSU pitch in some money? Where's all this money coming from?
Yeah, let's back up a tiny bit. I think it's really important for listeners to know that suicide rates in Oregon have been high for quite some time. And nationally, what we know is that there are population groups who are most affected by suicide, and members of our agriculture and natural resource communities are particularly burdened. So the AgriStress Helpline really did fill a gap when we launched it in September of 2023. It's specifically directed to folks who are from farm, ranch, fish, and forestry or timber communities and their families in Oregon. So we work closely with Oregon Health Authority and our friends at 988 to fill a gap. The AgriStress Helpline is funded in a lot of ways. It's a big group of folks who've come together to make the helpline go. There was Senate Bill 955 during the 2023 legislative session that gave $300,000 into an endowment at the OSU Foundation. Endowment meaning, of course, that 300,000, we don't spend it. It generates interest, and we're able to use that $13,000 or $14,000 a year to help us pay for the line and pay for promotion of the line and the time of the people who think thoughtfully about that promotion. We've had other donors, AgWest, Amazon Web Services, AWS, Eastern Oregon Coordinated Care Organization, Roundhouse Foundation. There are lots of families and individuals who have donated to the helpline to make it go. And of course, College of Health at Oregon State University, College of Ag Sciences, and the Division of Extension and Engagement. We've all pooled resources to be sure that we've gotten the word out about the helpline and to make sure that the folks at the other end of the line are well trained about Oregon agriculture, about Oregon forestry, fishing, timber, ranching, things like that. So it's been a broad coalition and a labor of love, I would say, to fill a gap in services in the state.
And so SB 779, which has been introduced, it hopes to appropriate money from the general fund to help support the operation of the AgriStress Helpline. How would that funding help aid the helpline? And just in general, how would it help agricultural workers in Oregon?
Well, the beauty of SB 779 is that it will fund the line essentially forever. We've done the math. That $2 million will go into an account at the OSU Foundation, and the interest that we learn will pay for those humans, we call them call specialists, who answer the phone. That costs us about $68,000 a year. It's based on the number of producers in Oregon, according to the census. And if you add up the math and do the interest rate, it means that forever we can ensure that the AgriStress Helpline is available to Oregonians. The College of Health, again, College of Ag Sciences and Division of Extension and Engagement at OSU are committed to ensuring that we have resources for promotion for the leadership team on campus that can ensure that the line is supported, right? You can't just have the telephone line. You also have to make sure people know that it's there, and there's continuous quality improvement that happens in making sure that news and happenings in Oregon make it to the call specialist. And also, the call specialists offer referrals. And so it's important for us to be sure that their referral lists are up to date based on what's happening in Oregon and ways that we can support our agricultural community.
Mhm. And so, how does Oregon's funding, if you know the answer to this question, how does Oregon's funding compare to other states around the country that utilize the AgriStress Helpline or just AgriSafe as a whole, like as the
Yeah.
company? Like, how does it compare to other states?
It's a great question. I don't know, for
Mhm.
example, how much the state of Texas spends on their line. That's outside of my knowledge. What I do know, and I think what is important for your listeners, is that we're the only state where the line is led through cooperative extension and through the land grant university. There's one land grant university in every state. What that means about Oregon State is that we're dedicated to research and teaching, just like every university, but it also means that we're dedicated to serving our community in a really authentic way. So we're the only state of, I believe, 7 or 10, something like that, that have the helpline where extension is leading the way. The land grant university is leading the way. And we also take a public health approach to promoting the line. We know that this is for crisis and referrals. We ensure that our messaging is trauma informed. We're being very clear about wanting to reach the population that is most underserved. Those are older, rural men who are most at risk. So we're funded differently. I'm not sure about amounts, but we definitely take great care to infuse this with a health lens, and as a service of the land grant university.
And then, is there anything you'd like the public to know about the AgriStress Helpline in general?
It's working. It's working. It's really hard. You don't ever want anybody to have to call, but it's also really nice to know that people are calling. We've received calls from 22 Oregon counties. Increasingly, we see calls from the target audience where the main goal of the call is to help. If we can get a little demographic data, we do. So we see increasingly calls coming from men, sometimes from spouses, sometimes from family members. We know that tailored helplines are a way to support people. It increases access to care. It's a hard behavior to ask someone to call a stranger if they're feeling out of sorts, right? We recognize that, but increasingly we're getting calls. And just the other day, I saw a Facebook post from someone that was sharing the line, and they were sharing a screenshot of their phone where they'd saved the number and just offering to their Facebook followers that everyone needs a hand sometimes, and that this is a 24/7 outlet for you. It's free, it's confidential. Please save the number in your phone, and I'll be sure to give you the number for use when you air this piece. But
For sure.
it's nice to see that it's not the public health lady in leadership at Oregon State that's sharing the message, but rather farmers and ranchers themselves to others to say, reach out. This exists, and we don't want you to be alone in the dark